Nishimye Kubana Namweo Yomunsi. That's the end of the Kenya Rwanda, I'm afraid. That's all I have for you. So thank you very much. I've been just invited to say a few things about introducing the topic of this discussion and the UK's experience in this, particularly here in Rwanda. I think everybody in this room knows how vital innovation and new technologies are to tackling the challenges that Rwanda and the whole world face in the future for development, for tackling climate change, for vaccines for new diseases, for all of these things. That's enormously important for the world, for Rwanda's ambitions to reach middle income status and so on. And it's hugely inspiring. I mean, the performance just now was incredibly inspiring, but just all of the kind of energy, all the different people in this room, all the entrepreneurs, all the founders, it kind of gives you a sense of hope that all of those problems will be solved, that there are ideas out there. But I think what is great about this panel is when we think about those things, we often think about founders and entrepreneurs and startups, and they're a really important part of innovation, but they're not the whole story. There is this wider ecosystem with corporates, with the public sector that's needed for those ideas, those kind of brilliant things that people are coming up with, those brilliant solutions to problems, to be linked up with kind of big organizations with reach and scale that can kind of help them to reach everybody that they need to reach. And that's something around the world. The UK, I think we have a portfolio of about £200 million worth of investments in kind of innovation and technology, particularly in developing countries, in Africa, but around the world. And one of the things we know from that is that linkage, the link between a startup with great ideas and energy, and a big corporate with reach and scale and money and the right people. And it's great to see all of the students who are going to be the right people in kind of a few years' time. That link is like the really, really difficult bit. And so there are a couple of things, I think we're going to hear about great things other people are doing, but there are a couple of things the UK supports in Rwanda that I can maybe mention in that space. One is an investment we've made in Catapult Africa. I don't know if Catapult are here today, actually. So that's a fund that supports startups across the continent, but they're based here in Rwanda, particularly in agriculture and food. It gives them an accelerator, an incubator, all that stuff, but also actual funding. So it helps them to grow. And then a partnership with another speaker that's on the panel. We're working with RDB and with Color on a new project called iHelix, which is going to link up kind of tech startups and big corporates. I'm not going to speak too much about that because I think you'll probably hear about it, but I will promote there's going to be a corporate breakfast to launch that on the 14th at the Marriott. Is that right? Yeah, good. So if you're a corporate here and you want to meet a bunch of startups that are going to be involved in that program and get involved, that would be the thing to go to. That's all the corporate sector. Really briefly on the public sector side, the UK, it's interesting, I work in the public sector, I work for the British government, and we're not always as good at kind of grabbing innovation as we perhaps should be. Actually, I think, our partnership with the government of Rwanda, we learn a lot from the energy and the pace that Rwanda brings to this, bringing all the services online, using new technologies for that. Because that's really, really important to then help citizens to deliver services to them. So it's great to see some of the things that are being given awards today in that area. And we've got some great partnerships in Rwanda. Our statistics authority, the UK one, works with the Rwandan Statistics Authority on big data, on kind of data science. Like some really interesting applications of that in improving like Rwanda's work to tackle air pollution, for example. But we also do kind of things that are on the surface much more boring. So a couple of years ago, we worked with the World Bank and Rwanda to support the first Africa Drone Summit here, which is really exciting. And drones are cool, right? And you can deliver blood with them if you're zipline. But there's also a whole load of really boring stuff that the public sector has to get right to make that work, like the legal architecture around it. And that summit was really helpful in achieving that. So the public sector has that role to play as well. I'm going to draw this to a close because you asked me to keep it brief, and I've tried to. But just to say, it's really exciting to see all of the people in this room to kind of get that sense of the whole ecosystem working together on innovation in Rwanda. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from what this panel has to say about how the corporate and public sector can be involved in that. Thank you very much. Thank you.